All right, everybody, welcome back to the Golf Podcast. This is episode number 207. Speaking of which, Mike, I was thinking about it. We're like the Brett Favre of like podcasting.
Oh, don't jinx it.
Dude, 207 episodes. And the reason I say that is because right now you may hear it in my voice. I'm a little under the weather.
Yes.
And I thought about this like it seems like every winter, because winter is rough, man. Every winter I have one episode where I'm under the weather, but still in 5 years we've got 207 like weekly episodes. Maybe we missed a week here or there to take some vacation, but I'll tell you, that's a pretty good track record. I'm a little impressed with ourselves right now.
It's pretty good. And I even offered you the opportunity to record tomorrow, but you're like, no, dude, let's do this. I'm ready to rock.
Roll. We got work to do tomorrow, man. We got a new vlog we're shooting tomorrow, which I'm going to talk about in a second. We got hopefully this app is going to be out tomorrow. We're going to be on the developers working on them for that. We're getting that putter fitting. A lot of great stuff going on. But before we jump into that, listen, guys, I know, on the show, if you're listening to the show regularly, you've heard me talk about this week's sponsor, which is Health IQ. But if you haven't heard about them yet, Health IQ is an insurance company that helps health conscious people like runners, cyclists, weightlifters, vegetarians, you name it. Those health conscious people are able to get lower rates on their life insurance. Healthier individuals deserve to get rewarded with more affordable insurance. So check out healthiq.com/Golficity to support the show and to see if you qualify today for those discounted rates. Make sure you check that out. But Mike, bouncing back to it, we just did the twist face review, the new M3 and M4. That was a lot of fun. What do you think of that one?
Yeah, that was cool. I mean, first off, while most people are sitting in their office desks or cubicles, you and I are at the PGA Superstore or our home simulator testing drivers. So it's really cool to get out there and do that. I mean, I know a lot of our listeners and people on Instagram, they're writing in there asking questions. How'd you like the review? How'd you like the clubs? What was your final verdict? So, that was cool. People were following along. But overall, I love getting these new products in my hands. But for me, because I have such a what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I know what's wrong with my golf swing. I know what I need to fix. I'm trying to work at it. So right now, all these new clubs I'm putting in my hand, I'm getting the same results. You know what I mean? So I'm not able to break through and say that I like this one club over this other club over this other club. So if you held the F8, the M3, and the M4 up, we reviewed all of them. Yeah. I still wouldn't know which one to buy at the current moment because I haven't really fixed that problem that I know I need to fix. But overall, that's a topic for a whole nother day. But as far as the M3, M4 review, a lot of fun. Really cool seeing the unique differences between both clubs. I like how it relates back to the M1 and M2. Now we have the M3 and M4. Obviously, the 1 and the 3 having the adjustability and the 3 or 4 not. So very unique in the way that these clubs are built. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it definitely was. And I definitely hear where you're coming from, and I feel for you. When your swing is off, I think it's not the best time to shop for a new club, because especially if it's really off, you want to just work on fixing that first. And for you, I think largely just being cold. You can only do so much in the simulators and stuff. We're right now, we're at pretty much the depth of winter here in the Northeast, in so much as it's been realistically almost 2.5 to 3 months since we've been on a golf course. Now, granted, we got 1 or 2 warm days here, but 1 or 2 doesn't do much for us. The courses are still, not ready to go. So I think the better bet is, hold off on a big buying decision like that, get the game back in order this spring, and then get back out there. But I'll tell you, I was impressed so far with all the clubs we've hit. I told you the reasons I was impressed with the King, F8, the Cobra driver, the M3, M4, I was impressed with as well. One thing that I would say, and anytime you hear these new things come out, like in this case, the twist face, I think a lot of people are thinking like, oh my God, like this is going to be everything I need. I think you're setting yourself up for failure. And I said this in the video, video review we did on our YouTube channel. Is that it's not a miracle drug. It's not like because the face is twisted, anywhere you hit it on the face, it's going to work its way back towards center. That's just not going to happen. If you still have a bad miss hit, a terrible slice, a terrible hook, that's still going to happen. But what I did find was that it was generally more forgiving than most of the clubs I've hit. So if it was a little bit off center, off the face out towards the toe or, in towards the heel, it would kind of help correct a little bit. And we showed some of that in the video. So if you didn't get a chance to check that out, definitely check it out. I was just glad we finally got to really put it through the paces because the couple of shots we took at the PGA show really just wasn't enough. But generally speaking, good club, good adjustability. I would say, and one person had asked me today on the Facebook page, okay, F8 or the M3, M4. Honestly, I think as far as forgiveness goes and distance, I think that they're very similar in a lot of ways. I don't think you're going to get hurt. I think it's more of comes down to a lot of personal preference. Get out there and try them. They're both, upper echelon top clubs. They're going to be highly rated no matter what. For me, I was leaning more towards the M4 out of that bunch because I like that forgiveness that it had. And then Mike, you were getting a lot of success towards the end with the M3 after we did some adjustability on it.
Right.
So, and if I could go back and readjust that for you, I would have adjusted it again for the draw all the way. But that other slider, which is, front to back, is what's going to do high or low. I would have moved that more towards the middle for you because you weren't having any trouble getting any height. In fact, we ended up knocking you down to a 9.5 degree from the 10.5 because you were getting too much height.
Right.
So you just got to take time with it. If you end up investing in the driver, take time and really work it out. Make sure you got those settings where they should be. But speaking of getting the golf game in order, Mike, the clock's ticking, man. 20 days till Bay Hill.
Days. I know. I'm so excited. I cannot wait. And it's funny. I got a quick funny story today. So the team over at 18 Birdies, who's kind of putting this event together for us, they asked me for my handicap for the Pro-Am. Mm-hmm. And I wrote back and told them, I said, listen, I didn't keep a gin last year because I just, I didn't do it. I kind of bounced over, played different courses. I didn't belong to a club. I didn't sign up. So I kept all of my rounds in their app, 18 Birdies app. So he wrote back today, Frank, and he goes, well, unfortunately, because you don't have a legitimate gin, you could still win prizes, but you get 0 strokes. I'm like,
come on, really?
So I go, all right, can you find out from your team if this is acceptable? So I asked him, can I go tomorrow to a pro shop? I know the one in my town is now open. I can apply for my gin before March 1. Enter all the scores I have. I have 18 scores in my 18 Birdies app.
Okay.
I can enter them with the dates that I had the rounds, and then my gin should calculate on March 1, and then I could just send it to him, and I'll be good to go. Okay. I think that was interesting, though. That I'm probably going to be getting about 22 strokes at Bay Hill. Just think about how they're going to adjust that.
But hey, it is interesting, but it's good that it's legit. You got to walk. Yeah. I mean, because there's a lot of things that'll calculate a handicap now, but we want to have that standardization, especially when you're playing something like a PGA Tour Pro-Am. Yeah,
but what do you think? What do you think the rules are for, like, let's say I'm having a really bad hole. I'm in the water 3 or 4 times, and the pro is getting kind of frustrated. I just pick up the ball. Like, what do we card? This is a legitimate tournament. I mean, what do I?
Well, I think it actually plays in really well to what we're going to talk about tonight, because I think what you're going to be playing is basically, and tonight our topic is going to be golf mini games and things you can do out there to kind of mix it up and get it a little bit more exciting. But I think what you're going to be playing is going to be is best ball or 4-ball.
You think so?
I believe it is, because that's the best way that all of you are going to record your score. And we'll talk about how 4-ball is played in a second.
Interesting.
But think about it like this. So in 4-ball, just a quick synopsis, everybody plays from tee to green, plays their own ball. So that way you get to record your own 18-hole score. But you take the low score out of the group is what the team score is.
For the event. Got it.
Okay, so let's say you're playing with someone who gets 2 strokes on a hole and they make a 6, well, then that's a 4. And if that's the best score, that's what you're going to take. So let's say you have a blow-up hole and you've got a 10 going. Theoretically, you're not going to be the best scorer in the group. There's going to be someone who's playing better, and the pro plays with you too. So you could play with off the pro score too, but they're obviously scratch and they're playing from the back tees.
Right.
But you got to think the pro is going to come in with probably bogey at the worst. So at that point, I think you pick up and you move on because you want to keep the game moving. I think that's where you're at. And then you just start on the next hole. The only problem you would ultimately have then is what score do you take if you want to take what your 18-hole score is? I think the max if you pick up.
Yeah, that's understandable. I mean, I want to be able to walk off that course, saying that I shot X that day at Bay Hill.
And the way you do that is just not pick up anywhere. Or if you do pick up, you take whatever the max would be considered for your handicap.
Yeah.
But even with some people are against that. People are like, you can play it all the way through. But yeah, they're going to keep you moving. They're not going to you're not going to tin cupping out there. They're not gonna let that happen. No
No,
way.
you better keep me under control there, okay?
Yeah.
Don't like ask me to pick up after like the first shot in the woods. You're like,
Come
dude,
on,
pick
I'm
up.
not gonna ask you
No,
to
I'm just-
pick up. I know what you're gonna do. You're gonna send me in the woods to go find it. Like, Frank, I'm
I
gonna
don't-
hit a provisional. You get to work.
I don't think I'm going to be that crazy with you. I think basic stuff I need from you is like towel to wipe the hands, very Michael Greller style. Every now and then, I'd like for you to clean the ball on the green. That's only
Listen, none
fair.
of that's happening. I'm gonna be too busy. I'm gonna be too busy filming, dude. Don't forget, this is gonna be a vlog. Somebody's gotta document this, and I'm not wearing a GoPro strapped to my head.
Yeah, true enough.
I'll have one on my head, on my chest, on
Yeah.
my back, getting every angle. It'll be 360 view vlog.
Well, make sure you're paying attention and pulling the pins for the other guys.
Yeah.
If
Okay,
they need
guys,
to-
hold up. I gotta put a camera on that pin. I gotta. They'll know what it's like filming one of our vlog episodes. That's for sure.
Right.
All right. So yeah, a lot of exciting stuff coming up. A lot of stuff for the YouTube channel as well. The videos, like I said, the Twist Face review tomorrow. As of this recording, so that video will probably be out by the time this podcast drops. But we're going to be going and getting a full putter fitting. So you guys saw and you followed along when we did some club fitting not too long ago. And then now we're going to be going for that putter fitting. We're going to be doing it at a different place. We're going to be down at Club Champion. They're down in Hackensack, New Jersey. And, these guys are premier club fitters. They're Golf Digest 100 best club fitters. Really interesting. I can't wait to see how this experience is going to go. It's a very detailed experience when you do a putter fitting. It's something I've never had. I've been fit for clubs. I've never been fit for a putter. You either, right, Mike?
No, I've never been fit for a putter at all.
So I'm really excited to see this. It's a 1 hour session each. And look, we've talked about it before. I think putters and they even say it on their website, the putter is responsible for approximately 40% of your strokes. 40%. So why would you not, if you're going to invest in anything, get that club fitted? And the price isn't even that bad. It's $100 for a 1 hour session. And theoretically, again, with a putter, we had last week, we had Brad Converse from Bradley Putters on the show, which if you didn't get a chance to listen to that, go back and listen to last week's episode because really cool story about how he got started in the custom, putter fitting business. But what I was saying is that once you get fitted for a putter, often it lasts a lot longer than all the other clubs. You can be with the same, gamer putter for 10 to 15 years. So if you're properly fit, you really get some legs out of it. But they said they use hundreds of variables and they'll look at the proper length, the loft, the lie, offset, face characteristics, head styles, shaft. I mean, there's a lot to go through. So I'm interested to see how it plays out. We're going to be learning as we go and we're going to bring everybody along with it on the video. We're also going to do a podcast episode after decompressing how that went. And hopefully you guys can learn something from it if you decide you want to go get a putter fitting. So I'm looking forward to that. So, all right, let's do a word from our sponsor. And then we're going to talk about some of these different mini games you can play when you're out there. So once again, we want to thank Health IQ for sponsoring this episode. Guys, I've said it before, I'm loving taking advantage of their discounted life insurance rates. Health IQ uses science and data to secure lower rates on life insurance for health-conscious people, and that includes runners, cyclists, strength trainers, vegans, and more. And talk about savings. 56% of Health IQ customers save between 4 and 33% on their life insurance, and this savings is exclusive to Health IQ.
Yeah, and the reason Health IQ can save their customers up to 33% is because physically active people have a much lower risk of heart disease, cancer, and diabetes compared to people who are inactive. I mean, I always say this, and it's true. It's like saving money on your car insurance for being a good driver. Health IQ saves you money on your life insurance for living a health-conscious lifestyle. So learn more and get a free quote at healthiq.com/Golficity.
All right, guys. So we're talking tonight about golf's mini games, and we can't. There's no way we could go through all of them. So we just identified some of the most popular ones, some of the easiest to know and understand, because there are some that can get a little bit complex. And personally, I'm a type of guy, I like to shy away from the really complex stuff or playing too many side games. I like to just pick one and go with that because.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, right. I mean, because you get to a point where you're just like you get too distracted. You know, and it just I get too far out of my games. I've seen before where there's some guys and they love it. You know, good for them. I see some foursomes that go out and they're playing 4 or 5 different games at a time, and it's just like their scorecard looks like I don't know. It's like game theory. It's like crazy, you know, math that they've got going to try to figure out what they're doing. But and look, there are other things. I know there's apps like even in the 18 Birdies app, they allow you to play some side games and side bets, and it kind of keeps track of it. But to me, I don't like to do too many. I like to pick one and have fun with it. But that said, these are, if you do get involved in any of these, they are a way to kind of liven up your regular round or do something a little bit different. So we're going to talk about them. Some of these you may have heard of before. Maybe we could put a new twist on some of this stuff. Otherwise, some of these may be new to you. But regardless, I do want to hear from you guys and hear what are some of the mini games you enjoy playing. Maybe we'll even post a poll in the Facebook group. But either way, just post it in the Facebook group or tweet us at Golficity and just let us know what are some of the mini games that you enjoy playing. I'd love to hear from you guys and get a little bit of your feedback. But let's just dive right into this and talk about the first one, skins. If you've been around the game of golf at all, you've heard of skins. Again, accounting for I guess local, you know, lingo. I would imagine it's called skins everywhere. Don't forget, we're here in the States. I know we have people listening to us from everywhere, from the UK, Australia, South Africa. Maybe there's some different names you guys call it by. If you do, let us know. I'd love to hear about it. But skins, it's probably the most popular mini game, and it's played on a hole by hole basis. And that's why I like skins, because there's a couple things. One, if you do have one really bad hole, it's not going to take you out of competition. You know, so you can lose a hole and then come back from it. Now, if there were a lot of skins on the line on that hole, maybe not. But you know what I mean? Like there's one hole is not going to take you out of it. It's very simple to understand. And it can be a lot of fun. And I like, we talk about pressure, right? We talk about even simulating pressure in your practice. Well, there can be a lot of pressure if a lot of skins are on the line. So for anybody who hasn't played skins or is not familiar with it, or some of I know there's a lot of very new golfers who listen to the show, a lot of people who email us and say they just started with the game. So if you don't know what skins are, we'll walk you through a quick example. So let's say on the first hole, you know, 2 of the 4 players in your group make par, which ties for the low score in the hole. And then that way no one's awarded a skin. So a skin is like winning a hole. It's like kind of the lingo for winning a hole. So if there's 2 people who tie, we call it a push, and it moves on to the second hole. Then, let's say in that hole, the second hole, all 4 players make bogey. Again, no skin. So now remember, if anybody ties, if anybody in the foursome ties, it's a push. So
unless one player is better than the rest, you can have a birdie, 2 pars, and a bogey.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If anybody ties for the low.
For the low, got it.
You're right. That's a good correction. I should have said for the low. If there's 2 birdies, it's a push. It doesn't mean the other guys lose. And that's where you can kind of have yourself. You could be saved, and that's where you want to hug the guy who saved you, because you could have a double bogey. Somebody else birdies the hole, and they tie another person who's birdied. It's a push, so you don't have to worry. It's like the slate is wiped clean. But let's say, going with that example, so the first hole, 2 of the 4 players tie, and the second hole, all 4 players tie. Now we got 2 skins on the line because you carry them over. On the third hole, you get 1 player records a birdie. The rest make a par or worse. In that case, that particular player wins 3 skins because they won the skins from that hole plus the 2 prior holes. So that's where it gets to kind of stack up. And I like this because you can get a lot as the skins start to carry over. It really gets fun because it gets very competitive out there. So you have one moment you're rooting for the guy next to you because you know, like, man, you got to make this birdie to push us because I made par and I we wanted to have those skins. And then the very next hole, you're playing cutthroat against that guy because you want to collect all those skins. And I've had it before where I have 6, 7 skins on the line. It can get really exciting, some of those later holes. So it kind of continues that way throughout the round. And you decide what to do with with the skins that are left on the last hole. If there is a tie, you can kind of just push them or whatever. Usually the way we play, it's just cumulative. Whoever has the most skins, excuse me, still under that weather. But yeah, and then you could add a little bit of money to it. You could do whatever, person with the most skins gets a beer after the round, or you can play a quarter, a skin, or whatever it may be. So it's a fun one.
It is a fun one. This isn't one I'm used to playing, though. I'm normally playing something similar, but they don't carry over. So I don't know if there's any particular names. That might be just straight up Nassau. We're probably not covering that one tonight. But, basically, if you win the hole, if there's a push, nobody kind of carries anything forward. It just moves on to the next hole. You know what I mean? And sometimes we do it how I'm used to doing it because I play with the same group of people a lot. And it's usually like maybe it's $5 on the front nine, $5 on the back, and like $10 overall. So your out of pocket's like $20. But that's another fun way to doing it. But again, nothing like this that carries over. This actually looks fun, especially since they carry over. And I love the fact that you're rooting for other people that way. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, the carryover effect is a big part of it. But you know, this is something we also when I play with my father, we have a regular weekend round where I play with him and his buddies. And what they play, and we'll talk about in a second, they play actually a best ball or also known as four ball. But if the matches run out and there's still some holes left, that's what happens sometimes. Like somebody will blow away a match and the last three holes, the match is won and there's 3 holes left to play. What they'll do is they'll do skins for the last 3. So they make it like a bonus. It doesn't have to be for all 18 holes. You can do skins for just a couple holes. So it can be a bonus thing. It can be something you tack on, but it's fun to play no matter what. So definitely give it a try. And also, the reason why I wanted to go over this today, because like I said, we have a lot of new golfers, and often if you just get paired up, I've had this before, like sometimes you'll just get paired up with people who like to play the mini games, and they'll be like, hey, we play a skins game, you want in? And it's just good to even know or be aware of these different games so you can kind of know what you're getting into, so to speak,
Yeah.
So that's one. Another thing is a stableford, however you want to pronounce it. It's not necessarily a mini game so much as it's a different way to keep score. And this is very simple. But what you do here is rather than counting each stroke over the course of a round, what you do ahead of time before starting the match is you assign different points to different scores, and you could basically make these whatever you want to do. There's a lot of leeway here. Whatever the group decides on, you can adjust them to that. And at the end of the round, what you're just looking for, whatever player has the most points wins. So again, you could customize this to your skill level. So for example, you might want to say 1 point for a bogey, 2 points for a par, 3 points for a birdie, and 5 points for an eagle, right? The good part about this is if you're one of those players who's very inconsistent and every once in a while you have a really big blow up hole, this again is a type of scoring method that keeps you in it. Because if you just play straight stroke play and on the 3rd or 4th hole you have such a big blow up hole that it almost takes you out of competition for the rest of the time, the 18 holes, and it just doesn't become as much fun. Here, if you make, let's say, a double bogey or worse, no points are awarded, but no points are lost. So it's not like, a 10 doesn't hurt you as bad as a 10 would normally. So I like these for like newer golfers, when you're first getting involved, for a way that you can kind of compete with and play a fun game with people who are maybe more versed in the game without having to worry about being knocked out too easily. So it's a nice way to do that. It's also a nice way to kind of encourage playing very aggressively, going for it, on par 5s over water or whatever it may be, because you may realize, look, if I go for it and I could make that eagle, it's 5 points. But the worst case, if I put 2 in the drink and I make a 10, worst case is a 0 on the hole.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So you can be a lot more aggressive. So that's a fun one. Another one, this one, I'll let you take this a little bit, Mike. Bingo, bango, bongo, because you've played this before, right? I've heard you talking about it a little bit. It's been a while, but I've heard you talking about it, right?
Yeah, no, this was actually one of the first games I was introduced to when I came back into the game about 8 or 9 years ago.
Yep.
This is when I just never knew games existed on the course other than the game of golf. And I was playing with someone and they were I don't know, maybe it was a complete stranger that I was teamed up with in my foursome who said, hey, let's play a fun game. It's bingo, bango, bongo. And I'm like, dude, come on. I'm just trying to get the ball off the tee. I have no idea what, I don't know what this stuff is, but the cool thing about it, it does have a really silly name, but it is a popular one. A lot of people know it. You accumulate points throughout the round with 3 points being available on each hole. So it's really simple. You get bingo. First point that you can get, it's awarded to the first player to get the ball up onto the green. All right. And then, of course, the next being bango, the point is awarded to the player closest to the hole once all of the balls are on the green. And then last, the bongo, the points awarded to the player who's able to put their ball in the hole first.
Yep.
So it gets everyone to putt out, or again, it's a lot of thinking. It's more thinking than just the game of golf. It adds to that element. The mental game really needs to be sharp in order to play a game like this, because constantly you're like, oh, I'm on the green, there's bingo, and you're like, so I guess it's fun in that regard. You're having more fun out there.
Yeah.
But for me, man, it's just too much work.
Well, one important thing of this too is knowing that it's not like that one vlog we did with the golf boards with the drone flying over us, where we race to see who could finish the hole first. It's not a race in that regard. We say first to do these things. In order to make this work, you've got to really stick to honors.
Yes.
So you got to allow the person furthest from the hole to play first in order to do that, because otherwise it's going to get silly. It's not just like a race to first to the thing. You've got to play the honors, and you've got to just whatever. So pace of play, sometimes if I see people get away from honors, we play like ready golf if it's like a pace of play thing. So sometimes that can be a little bit of a challenge. But yeah, it's a fun little game. And it's especially if you get somebody who enjoys keeping the score,
right?
Because I'm not the type of guy, like I said, who likes to be too distracted by it. But if you get a guy in the group who's like, well, I'll play bingo, bango, bongo, I'll keep track, then I'll be like, all right, fine. You keep,
right.
You keep track, and I'll
keep
play
track.
along.
Yep.
So Another one is called alternate shot. And this is something you probably play a little bit more rare, because most guys, this is fun. It's like a scramble format. If you want to have a much more relaxed format, if you want to have a format where you have some golfers who aren't as good, that's where like a scramble can work out if they're like not regular golfers. So you see that a lot for charity. The way like a scramble works is that everybody tees off, and then from there you pick the best ball, and everybody plays the ball from there. And then from there you pick the best ball. Alternate shot is kind of similar in that you don't end up with your own individual score. We see a little bit of this in some major golf competitions like the Ryder Cup and stuff like that. But the way it works is that you play alternate shots. So you have to end up cooperating with who you're paired with. So let's say you're in a foursome, and then, Mike, you and I get paired, and we're playing against the other two guys that we're playing with. In that case, what we're going to do is we're going to alternate. So I tee off, and then you take the next shot, and then I take the next shot, and we just go back and forth until it's holed out. And then we alternate who tees off on the other hole. So each of us tees off on 9 holes. And it can be fun because you're working together and you're having a playoff. Like if you start to see, and I do like it in a manner of practicing, because it can sometimes get you outside of your own game. So let's say you play with somebody who's a big driver, long off the tee. You're not long off the tee. By doing that, you're mixing it up where you're getting to see approach shots that are shorter when you use that person's drive, and you get to practice those shorter approach shots. Whereas when you use your drive, that person who's used to the longer drive has to practice their longer approach shots, and vice versa. So it could get interesting, and it could get a little bit, like ribbing each other too, because you got like one guy like puts it like, I don't know, way right or something like that, and the other guy's got to hit that punch out shot, and he's like, come on, man, so it can be fun. It can be a fun thing, especially if you take it lightly, but I like it. It's just one of those things, maybe you do one round a year like that. I think this would be a fun one for us to do a vlog when we mix it up this year on the course. Maybe one time me and you play alternate shot and just see what we can score.
I like it. I like it. I was thinking we come up with 18 games and we play 18 holes, one game each hole.
One game. There you go. That's really keeping track.
Yeah.
We got to bring like our accountant out there with us.
Yeah, seriously. Seriously.
So the last one, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say with alternate shot though, it's not something that a lot of guys like kind of crave, especially, right. For me, for example, Frank, I play in this annual, this cup, this best out of 5 series with some buddies every year. And, we play at their club, and I'm always the guest. So I pay the guest fee, and they say, we should switch it up next year. They always say this, let's switch it up and let's do an alternate shot. We'll make it like the Ryder Cup.
Right.
We'll do right. And I'm like, let me tell you something. I'm paying $150 to play here, man. I want to play my own ball.
That's it.
But like you just said, you kind of said something. If you play it once a year, it might be fun. So you know what? Maybe I'll just kind of bite the bullet and do it, because the way you just described it, it does sound kind of fun, like trying to bail out your partner.
Yeah,
it's cool. I like it.
And if you're going to play a multiple round competition like the Ryder Cup, then it can be fun to work this in as one of the rounds. But yes, what you just mentioned is probably the number one complaint why a lot of people don't like these games, like a scramble, is because let's say, for for instance, you have a scramble tournament that you get invited to, and it's at like a pristine course you've always wanted to play. A lot of people, if that's the case, they're saying like, I'm finally getting the opportunity to play this track, and they're probably paying a lot of money, as you said. And they're like, I want to know what my 18-hole score is. And if you play these formats, you're not going to get that. Now, with a scramble, the other side of that is, let's say, especially in charity things, you get guys who come out who aren't golfers, like they just don't play. And for them to hack it around for 18 holes, it would be just too much. So that's where, if you're really not a golfer, you like a scramble because you don't have to worry about your score. You get to pick, you have a lot of bad shots. You pick them up, you move on, you bring your ball up to where the best shot is. And then maybe you hit one or two good shots, and maybe you hope that people use them, or a putt, or you contribute to the team somehow. But yeah, I mean, that's the number one complaint, is that when you get away from anything where you're doing your own strokes, people don't like it because they especially if you paid a lot for that round. But that's where something like best ball, or also called four ball, really works in well, because it's a nice mesh of both. It's a mesh of a team effort, but also playing your own ball. So, the way the way four ball works is, and this often is a very good thing to do if you've got a regular foursome who's playing together often. You can work this in. And like I said, the beauty is that you have that team competition, but you're still playing your own ball from tee to green on every hole. So the way this works is, let's say best ball, again, you're four guys out there. You pair up 2 and 2, and you play your ball from tee to the hole. And then what you do is, let's say, Mike, me and you are playing versus somebody else again, that hypothetical situation. And let's say on the hole, I make a 4, you make a 3. Our team score is a 3. So we still put our own scores on the card. So we run that all the way down to 18. We know what we scored. But we also keep below it our team score. My score does not count on that hole. Yours does. We made a 3. Now the guys we're playing against have to make a 3 or better to win that hole. So you could do it match play that way, or you could do total overall score. The way when I play this on the weekend with my father and his group, we play best ball like that, but we play match play. So we play, as we move throughout. So that, like, let's say we tied, we made a 3, it was our better score, and the people next to us was a 3, that would be a push to the next hole. So it could be a lot of fun. And that way, like I said, you're able to keep your own score, but also, be in a team format. And this is not to be confused with a scramble. That's where you work together hitting the same ball. In this case, you're each playing your ball, you're just taking the better score. So that could be a lot of fun. The way actually that my father's group does it, which I like because it mixes it up. They play four ball in teams of 2, but they switch teams every 6 holes. And the reason they do that is you end up being able to have each guy in the foursome is your teammate on, throughout that 18.
Yeah, I've done that. I like that.
Yeah, so like my father's my teammate for 6 holes, and I switch, and then now I'm playing against him and with somebody else, and then we switch again. So that could be fun. You could also do things like, for sure, you can incorporate handicaps in this. So you could play with somebody who all different skill levels. So somebody might be getting 2 or 3 strokes, that counts into that score. And then let's say they make a 5, which is 2 strokes is a net 3. So there's a lot of ways you can make this work, but it's all about having fun ultimately. And I like best ball or four ball because it does have that team competition while also having that aspect of keeping your own score. So that to me, I think is my favorite out of the bunch.
Hearing you talk about this, man, it's giving me serious Ryder Cup fever already this early in the year. I'm hearing 4-ball team match. It's all good stuff. But hey, listen, what we're talking about tonight, it does add a little bit of fun to the course. I will give you that, because I find myself in the position, like especially over the summer and spring, when I'm on the course at least once a week, I'm involved in some type of game. I mean, we haven't talked about Wolf tonight, but that's one of them you play a lot of. So hey, they do keep it fun, but like you said before, as long as, for me, this is my opinion, as long as someone else is going to keep track of it, I'm all for it. But otherwise, I'm either probably vlogging the round, or I'm on Arcos or 18 Birdies or something, just like keeping my game in check and trying to get through the round.
No doubt about it. But yeah, it is one of those things that, like, let's say you have somebody who's new to the game, or you're entertaining some, clients. A lot of people play business golf. That's where it can be a little fun. Like if you see somebody who's not having a lot of good time, be like, I tell you what, let's play this back nine. Let's play Wolf, as you said, where you're three guys are chasing one, or bingo, bango, bongo, or something that just like keeps the energy up and keeps people involved who don't necessarily enjoy the game as much as we do or play as much as we do. There's a lot of different things you can do with it. But it is fun. But regardless, like Mike said, Wolf is a good one. There's a lot that we haven't mentioned here because just the amount of time we have to talk about it. So if there's anything we didn't mention, let us know. Post those in the Facebook group. If you're not part of our Facebook group yet, make sure you get in there. It's 100% free. It's a lot of fun. Great group of guys and gals in that group, just talking everything from equipment to instruction. A lot of guys on there just even, selling some of their old equipment to other members. It's a really great community we have growing there. Just go to Facebook, just search the Golf Podcast. You're going to see it pop up, and definitely check that out. And then, like I said, Mike, we got to hit the road tomorrow morning and get this putter fitting done. I can't wait to do that. We'll decompress it on the show really soon. We've got more great guests coming up for you guys really soon. So stay tuned for all that. We appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you again next week.